So updates keep coming, and Anthropic just dropped Claude Design, giving us an interface to build web apps and websites. Pretty much anything we want through the Claude interface. This is their take on Google Stitch. And as you can see from this demo video, it's all about letting you adjust everything from the big picture down to the tiny details with these designs. And we're not just talking about web apps, we're also talking about mobile designs too. And it's kind of funny because when we chat about Anthropic and Claude Code, one of its biggest weaknesses is front-end design. It's pretty cool to see them launching a full-fledged app that fixes this weakness. So in this video, I'm going to show you how it works. We're going to do a quick demo so you can jump in and try it yourself. Now, Claude Design was made with Opus 4.7 in mind, and it works on anything from Pro Max up to Enterprise. And this does everything from prototypes to mockups to PowerPoint presentations, and it's something we can export to things like Microsoft PowerPoint or send it to Canva. Now, one of the cool parts of this is brand design. So you can provide it with a code base, type in your website's code base, and it will grab all the brand assets from the site. So it can match things like colors and typography to the design you're working on. So to get started, you just need to go to claw.ai/design, and it'll open a web page that looks like this right away. And on the left side, you've got a few different options to prototype a slide deck using a template, or other stuff down here at the bottom. Like I mentioned, we can make a design system. So if I head over to Setup Design System, I can enter something like my company name, and then I can give you examples of my design system, so you don't have to do this. But this will help if you've got something you're trying to match it to already. So you can give it the link to your GitHub. You can actually drag the folder. So if the code base is on your actual computer, you can just drag it in here, or you can also add the fonts, logos, and assets, plus any other notes. So what I did is I just picked the folder on my computer with assets for my website, and then I just hit continue to generation when you do this, especially if it's a larger code base. First of all, we aren't uploading the entire code base because it'll figure out which files actually make sense. Secondly, you'll get a pop-up window that says, hey, this can take 15 to 20 minutes as it goes through all your files. If you want to build something from scratch, you can definitely do that too. So let's kick off a fresh prototype called Chase Demo Here. And we've got two choices where you can just sketch a rough wireframe, or we can jump straight into a high fidelity mockup. So we'll build the mockup to be contiguous this page. And once more, I'm definitely picking up some Stitch vibes. So here's what I'm about to do. Let's build an interactive dark-themed graphic that shows how Prakamalia culture flows between cities on a rotating globe, with cities linked by glowing paths. Exactly like what they did in Bank Video. I'm curious to see if what we get here actually matches the asset they showed us in the video. And what kind of differences are we going to see, and how much did they hype it up in their ad? So we're going to go ahead and send it. And by the way, you can see here, we can also pick things like, you can attach things, you can actually do voice here and import whatever you want. So right away, it starts asking us some questions, which I really like. This is almost similar to plan mode inside of, what sort of culture are we talking about? Let's just go with a mixed globe style. Let's go with this flow path. It looks awesome. What are we planning for the color palette? Let's try multi-hue. And right away, I love the fact we're now getting these prompts when I go into Stitched. I won't really get this if I get distracted by other stuff. I'm not going to get it like one of the most powerful things inside of Claude Code. And we've talked about this in other web design lessons, is, having this back and forth to kind of figure out these blind spots in our plan, plus the fact that it's asking all these questions is massive. And it's asking me a whole bunch, like even normal plan mode and Cloud Code only ask like 3. So we'll drag to rotate what city should we feature. Let's do top 10, how much UI? Let's do full dashboard overall. For the mood, let's stick with editorial and see what's adjustable. We'll handle flow and color palette and have it generate 3. All right, let's keep going. And then on the left, once we answer those questions, it resets its progress again, just like what we'd see in Claude Code if it was in plan mode and actually doing things. And by the way, this is something you obviously have to be on the web app to do this. Isn't something you can find in the terminal for clear reasons, because it's graphical. And based on what I'm reading, I don't think this is ever going to make it into the desktop app. Maybe it will eventually, but right now you have to do it through claw.ai. Since we're building this, let's cover some questions you might have, like how this is any different. For me, giving that exact prompt here in the chat window, or pulling up Claw Code and just saying, hey, I want you to make this interactive thing well, and having create some sort of web app out of that, the answer is at if we get. Super simplistic, nothing much to it, right? It's just coding. It'll be the same deal, the difference is. And again, if you've done any kind of front-end design in any capacity, even if it's just a simple landing page, You get the power of being able to visually see these things and check them out, which is why Google Stitch is so cool. The really cool part about Stitch isn't just the design philosophy, which I think is solid, but rather the fact that I have a UI where I can visually see a bunch of options and edit it like this, and then when I like it, pull it into code. When I'm doing everything code first, from a design perspective, it's tough. It's kind of janky and pretty tough to grab a visual medium and then put that into natural language, which becomes code, which becomes a visual and really nail it, especially at the beginning. Like, I need to see things visually, at least for me, and I need to see options. So having this is awesome. This is a great step forward for Anthropic. And Claude Code, since this has been a serious weak point, which is why you see apps like P-Pencil and stuff like that is getting so popular, since it gives you a visual way to handle these kinds of issues. Plus a quick note, you can see down here that these are full-fledged applications, so it's basically prototyping. So you can have these things called APIs. You should be thinking about this more than just like a visual design tool such as Canva. The thing you should be thinking about is more in terms of a Google AI Studio type deal. So this is what it spit back, kind of going for an editorial vibe. You can spot the globe right here. I can move it using the mouse. We can adjust the rotation speed, tweak the glow intensity, and swap out the palette. That's pretty cool. And then it kind of has little write-ups over here. Now let's talk about how to edit this thing. First off, we've got this little tweak section here, since tweaks are all about rotation speed and everything else. I can add comments, edit, and draw. Then we can also full screen to see what this would look like for real. Wow, this looks pretty cool in full screen. That actually looks way better. But suppose I wanted to edit this thing. Obviously, we can just head back into the OMP window and prompt it. If I head over to edit, I can get a lot more granular. This sort of reminds me of things like Gusseur's editor or even something like Lovable. So I can, actually pick the individual cities themselves. If I tap the big globe, it'll pop up right here. And I can change things like the color, the height and all that. So I can get really specific about what I want to change, which is great. Way better than me saying in text, hey, I want to change the size of this. Well, I can just select it in here and tweak it that way. We can also do a comment. So I can tap any specific item. Same thing with edit, but instead of actually changing those specific numbers, I can just click on the globe, drop a comment and be like, can we make the globe bigger? Santa Claude. And it builds a queue of comments if you don't want to send it to Claude right away. But at any point, you can then send it to Claude. We'll start working on top of that. And we can also draw. So I'm like, okay, well, I just want a moon right here, let's grab. I'd like to check out the Artem is 2 moon mission over here, seeing it fly around and all that. Then right here, we also have the design file. So you can actually take a look at the code underneath the hood. And finally, we can export and share this thing. So if I hit export, I can download it as a zip, export it as a PDF or PowerPoint and send it to Canva. Or what's also super cool is I can pass this to Claude Code. And it gives me the command to bring this into Claude Code, which is awesome. So that's the spot I'm leaving you at for today, and I know that was pretty down and dirty. But I just kind of wanted to show you how to get around this thing. And what's possible, definitely expect a deep dive in the next day, or so showing you how you can get the most out of this. As always, let me know what you thought if you want to grab the Chase I Masterclass